supplements that I purchase, does one cancel out another? Can one negate the effects or positive effects of different ones?
That doesn't work that way with supplements, because supplements aren't medicines or drugs. So you're not going to have a contraindication of taking one supplement interacting with another.
Okay, good.
There are certain supplements, certainly botanicals and things like that, that you have to be aware of in the context of certain medications you might be taking, but those kinds of interactions are very, very rare. Just as you have to be aware with certain medications and foods you're eating, like grapefruit is one of those things you have to be conscious if you're taking certain kinds of medications, right, and consuming grapefruit. It could affect the way that medication functions in your body. So because if you're taking supplements that are really intended, as mine are, as they're food supplements. They're designed to supplement your diet and providing these dietary ingredients. You know, berberine that we're talking about here is fascinating because it is also a root, and it's a root that's related to turmeric root, but it's a root that just has been observed for a long period of time to have beneficial effects in the way our body manages and metabolizes glucose, and the way our body manages and metabolizes our blood lipids, like our cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. So it's just, for us, it's just a matter of paying attention to these natural ingredients that play a natural and supportive role in our body that might promote a healthier state when it comes to certain factors in our body, whether it's our blood sugar metabolism or insulin metabolism or our lipid metabolism.
I find that with so many of the wonderful supplements, you kind of look towards history books, you look towards the Asian diet, you look towards herbal remedies from years and years ago. Right. How important is that in the creation of these? Well,
that's always been important for me. That's always been important validation. But it was always insufficient for me to make a product. Just because something had been used in traditional medicine didn't mean that it warranted my making a product out of it. So until more conventional science analyzed the ingredient, identified the active components, and how they work in the body, it wasn't something I was necessarily going to make a product about, because I would have to be able to stand up here and say why that product is beneficial.
Right.
And I'd have to know that there was science, that I could read you quotes from the science as I could with berberine. So that's ours. Really, what we like to do is we have both parts of that equation. With so many of the botanical ingredients, the natural ingredients, they've been used for ages. The Mediterranean diet, we could talk about lycopene in a multivitamin. It's a carotenoid. Right. The Mediterranean diet has known about the importance of tomatoes for centuries and centuries. Turmeric, berberine, ginger, the Asian diet, right, for probably 2,000 years. So these are all ingredients that in the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years have been the subject of very serious research. And fortunately for me, I started my company, say, 39 years ago, not 100 years ago, because I have access to both all of the traditional literature and now all the current scientific literature. And what's really exciting is, even though there's no real economic interest for the pharmaceutical companies to be exploring these things like berberine, because they can't patent it and make a lot of money off it, there's nevertheless a wide body of science and research and folks who are committed to finding out and understanding these natural tools.
If you'd like to order berberine, it is available, the new berberine. We are going to mention